Take a bite. We're going to do a taste test on our muscadine jelly now. Got some on a biscuit. Here we go. Very good, very intense muscadine flavor. It'd blow any grape jelly you buy in the supermarket away. Awesome, try it yourself. Welcome to Good Food. Today we're making muscadine jam. And that's what muscadines look like for those that don't know. You start off by washing them, self-explanatory. Then you want to pierce it. Take the innards out in one pot and the husk in the other. We've already started. And move on to the next step. Our next step, we're going to work with the hulls. Depending on your preference, you can leave them whole like this and cook them down with a half cup of water and hit them with a potato masher or a blend stick if you have it, whatever you want to do. Or you can chop them on a cutting board and put them back in the pan with a half a cup of water. We're going to put them in a blender with a half a cup of water and blend them. That's what I prefer to do. I want the small, fine bits. Found a seed in there. Pull that out.
Not surprised.
Our next step, the hulls that we blended with a half cup of water, we're going to bring it to a simmer. 10 to 15 minutes. We're going to stir it occasionally and add water if necessary. We don't want it to stick, so stir and add water as necessary. Next, we cook the pulp until tender. We want to stir it occasionally as well. That shouldn't take as long as the hulls.
No water necessary.
No water should be necessary. There'll be plenty of juice there. Starting our next step here. We need to take the pulp and run it through a sieve or a screen so we can separate the seeds from the rest of the liquid. And get some in there, and we're just going to take a spatula and press it through. Next step, we got everything combined. We're going to put 3/4 of a cup of sugar for each cup of product we had here. That was 6 times 0.75, came out to 4.5 cups. We're going to mix this and bring it to a boil slowly. This is jam, not jelly. That's why we have the hulls in here. So we're not using pectin. We're using the natural pectin from the skin.
If they just use the juice.
If you just use the juice, you have to add pectin, and then you have jelly. This is the pint of the red. It has a nice ruby color to it. Really stands out nice. We'll see how this turns out in the end.
Okay, to do your lids, you want to bring them almost up to a boil. But do not boil them because you don't want to damage the rubber. You bring it almost to a boil, and then you turn it down at a low temperature to let it simmer. And on mine it would be, I'd turn it to a 3 to get you an idea. It would be like medium-low, in between medium and low. And the jars were sterilized in the dishwasher, and the dishwasher is have finished washing them, and we're leaving it closed because it's still warm. And that's how we do the bottles and the jars and the lids.
We're going to do the gel test. See if we have jelly yet. Now we're going to give it a second or two to cool off, and then we're going to tip it up sideways and see if it runs. I think it's still a little warm. We're going to give it a chance to cool off a little more. Because it didn't run up here. Notice where I dropped it up there? That is not running. It's cooler along the rim.
It's better if you put it on a cold plate, but this one isn't cold.
I think it's done anyway. It's not supposed to run, but
It's supposed to be cool.
see, it's not moving there at all. It's cooler around the lip than it is in the center, for whatever. You agree it's ready then?
Yeah, because this isn't moving at all here. That's still warm. You just put it on there. It has to cool down.
Want to leave headspace, right? Is that about right?
Recorded, yeah. It's recorded.
Okay. We're going to put it in jars. Once we get in the jars, we're going to
Tell them how much your space.
We want to fill the jars till you get a 1/4 inch below this ring here. You want to leave headspace.
This size, which is a 1/2 pint, is generally
Jelly jar.
jelly jar, but we just do it in a pint jar.
After we get these on and get the lids on, then we'll be doing the canning process. For canning, to put the lids on and keep them sanitary, you need a magnetic lid lifter. You're going to need a jar lifter to put it in and out of the canning pot. And then you need a canning pot with a false bottom.
Unless you're just going to put them in the refrigerator and, eat it within a month or so. Well, once it's open, you should eat it within a month. After that, but some people don't even do the bath, but you really should if you're going to put it in the cabinet. Yeah. You want to make sure the rims are clean, because if they're not clean, they'll interfere with the sealing process. So you want to just make sure there's a little bit around the bottom. That's okay, but otherwise, and even if you don't see it, always give it a little wipe. Make sure there's nothing on it. It'd been better if my towel was damp, but I was in a hurry since I didn't do it. All right, go ahead.
We have our jam in the canning pot. It's got a false bottom. The false bottom has holes in it so the water gets through, and it elevates it off the bottom so the jars are not directly sitting on the bottom of the pan, which is key because otherwise they'd bounce when it boiled. Take a while for this to come up to temperature. When you get a vacuum, they'll pop. We missed getting that on the recording, but when you press on the lid, there's no give. That means there's a vacuum. Canning done.